Hello, this is a video on naming acids. Um, Now, with naming acids, most of these acid names are erroneous acids. There's three types of acids: erroneous acid, Bronsted-Lowry acid, and Lewis acids. So most of these names are true for all acids. It gets a little bit more technical when you do Bronsted-Lowry and Lewis acids. There are some substances that are acids that you wouldn't think. But in this case, we're just doing basic naming of acids. And with name of acids, it's all about the anion. To actually to actually take and know it's an acid. Most acids, again, there are some exceptions because they're Bronsted-Lowry or Lewis acids, but most acids you can tell it's an acid because you look at the compound and it looks like an ionic compound, but in the cation position you have an H. Now that doesn't mean the subscript is 1, but it could be H2 something, H1 something, H3 something, but you have an H where the cation should be. That's an acid. Okay. Therefore, since if the cation position is always about H's, they're actually called H pluses. There's a name for it. It's not the hydrogen ion name. It's called the hydronium ion, and we'll talk about that later. But since every acid has the hydronium ion in it, the naming of the acid is all about the anion side. Remember, these are actually not ionic compounds. Acids are molecular compounds that we treat as ionic. So when they break into their ions, that is not a dissolving or physical process. It's actually a chemical reaction, and we have a name. It's called ionization. That's what you call it. But that stuff's for a later video. So how do you name them? It's all about the anion. So you always look for the anion side. And when you do that, there's a table you have to memorize. If the anion name ends in IDE, the acid name is hydro in front, the rest of the stem of the name, and ic at the end, and of course, acid. If the anion ends in ITE, then it's just the stem of the name, and it's us at the end, acid. And if the anion name is 8, it's the stem plus ic, acid. So, in essence, it's ide is hydro and ic, ite is us, and 8 is ic. Okay? So again, with all naming, there's two types. You're going from chemical formula to chemical name, or the chemical name to chemical formula. So we'll do the chemical name formula to the chemical name first. Of course, everything's about the anion, so you determine the anion in its name. So HNO3 or H1 in parentheses, NO3 in parentheses 1. The anion is NO3 1 minus. Its name is nitrate. So or it has a suffix of 8, which means up here, if the anion ends in 8, then the acid name ends in ic acid. So it is now going to be it's nitrate. So you drop the ending ATE and add IC, nitric acid. How much do you drop? Most of that is by learned behavior. And the other one, looking at, if you can't say it really easily, it's usually not the case. So therefore, that's how that's the name. It's called nitric acid. For example, if it's HNO2, then the anion name is NO2 1 minus. It's not called nitrate. It's called nitrite. Ends in ITE. So then it would be not nitric acid, but nitrous acid. Okay. Then the other way around is you have the chemical formula. You need the anion chemical formula in charge, so you can create the anion name, okay, and then you can create the acid name by putting in, if the ending is ic, you put, sorry, this is the wrong, I'm doing a wrong way, sorry. So if you have the chemical name, sulfurous acid, so the OUS indicates the fact that this is, so you go up here, the OUS indicates that sulfurite, so sulfite is SO3 2 minus. How do I know that? Because I've memorized it. So it's SO3 2 minus. So therefore, it's sulfite. Therefore, to make the acid chemical formula, the cation sides are always H pluses. So how many H pluses do you need to cancel a 2 minus? We need 2. So therefore, that's why the subscript is a 2. So it's H2SO3. You can or do not have to put the parentheses around the anion. The anion will always be a 1. So if it's a polyatomic ion, you can leave it without the parentheses. Or you can put the parentheses in, but I'll tell you that subscript for the parentheses is always a 1. So that would be the chemical formula for for sulfurous acid, H2SO3. So if it was something like hydrochloric acid, so in that case, it's hydro and ic, and hydro and ic up here, hydro and ic, would the anion name would end in I, so it would be chloride Cl1 minus, and you need 1 H plus to counterbalance the 1 minus, so therefore the chemical formula would be H1Cl1 or HCl. That's the chemical formula for hydrochloric acid. Okay? And that's how you name all acids. Thank you.